There are disappearances that end with a body, others end with an arrest. And then there are cases like this one, where the person doesn't just vanish, the answers scatter across cities, across countries, across years. This is one of those cases. This is the disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradely. Welcome to Where the Trail Ends, where we follow the story until it disappears. Amy Lynn Bradely was 23 years old in the spring of 1998. She was on a family vacation, sailing aboard a cruise ship in the Caribbean. It was supposed to be ordinary, relaxing, safe. The kind of trip where nothing is supposed to go wrong. On the night before her disappearance, Amy was seen socializing with others on the ship. She returned to her cabin in the early morning hours. At some point after that, Amy vanished. By the time her absence was discovered, the ship had already docked. Thousands of passengers were moving on and off. Crew members were changing shifts. The environment where Amy was last known to be had already dissolved. And that matters more than most people realize. Because once a ship docks, a disappearance no longer belongs to one place. Jurisdiction fragments immediately. Evidence control disappears. Witnesses scatter across countries and continents. There is no single authority, no fixed crime scene, and no clean way to contain what happened. From the very beginning, Amy's case had no borders. In the immediate aftermath, one explanation was pushed quickly: that Amy fell overboard. It was simple. It required no suspects, no extended investigation. But her family never accepted that explanation. And for one reason above all others, what came next? The sightings. Most missing persons cases fade into silence. Leads dry up. Time moves on. But in Amy Bradley's case, something unusual happened. People kept seeing her, and not just once. Sightings were reported in multiple locations, over multiple years, different countries, different witnesses, different circumstances. And while no single sighting could be definitively confirmed, the pattern itself refused to go away. Some witnesses described a woman who closely matched Amy's appearance. Others recognized her from missing posters before ever realizing who they were looking at. These weren't all secondhand rumors. Some came from people who believed, genuinely, that they had encountered someone who needed help. And that raises a difficult question. Why do sightings of Amy Bradley continue for years when most cases don't? One explanation is coincidence. Another is misidentification. Those happen often. But what makes Amy's case different is how persistent the reports were and how unwilling authorities were to completely dismiss them. At various points, law enforcement acknowledged that they could not conclusively rule out that Amy might still be alive. That alone sets this case apart. Amy's disappearance did not stay contained to a ship, or a port, or even a single country. It stretched outward. Each reported sighting pulled the case into a new place, under new jurisdiction, with new limitations. And with every passing year, the trail grew colder. Not because nothing was happening, but because too much was happening in too many places. This is the part of the story that often gets glossed over. The case didn't stall. It fragmented. Every new report required coordination across agencies that didn't share databases, didn't share protocols, and didn't share urgency. By the time information was verified, the moment had passed. The witness was gone. The location had changed. Unlike a disappearance on land, there was no stable ground to return to. No single street. No neighborhood to canvass again and again. The trail didn't end, it scattered. And yet Amy's name kept resurfacing. Her family never stopped pushing for answers. They followed leads. They kept her face in the public eye. They refused to accept a conclusion that didn't fit the unanswered questions. Because for them, the absence of proof mattered. No body was ever found. No definitive evidence of a fall. No conclusive explanation that closed every door. And as long as those doors remained open, the sightings mattered. Not because each one was proven true, but because collectively, they prevented the case from being sealed away. Amy Bradely became a rare thing in missing persons cases, someone officially missing, but never fully categorized as lost forever. As years passed, the world moved on. New cases captured attention. New headlines replaced old ones. But Amy's story lingered, resurfacing whenever a new report emerged or a new witness came forward. Each time the same question followed. What if? What if she didn't fall? What if she was seen? What if the reason we never got answers isn't because nothing happened, but because too much happened too quickly in too many places? Amy's disappearance exists in the spaces between certainty, between accident and intention, between evidence and absence. And that's what makes it so unsettling. This is not a case defined by one moment. It's defined by everything that came after. The unanswered sightings, the fractured investigation, the lack of a single authority able to say, with confidence, what happened. Amy Lynn Bradely didn't just disappear from a cruise ship. Her case slipped into a world with no borders, no clear jurisdiction, and no easy ending. And somewhere within that uncertainty, the truth may still exist. Scattered, fragmented, and waiting to be connected. Thank you for watching. This is Where the Trail Ends.